misty mountains cold.
Is this that Hobbit shit?
Hello, and welcome once again to That Hobbit Shit. It has been quite some time, but I'm still Corey.
And I am still Mike.
Mike, that sweet voice of yours, it's music to my ears.
All right.
What chapter are we on today?
Corey, we're on chapter 10, otherwise known as Not Sam and Yet Sam. Sam's around the corner.
Yes, yeah, just not quite yet, Sam. Yeah.
Not quite yet.
Yeah.
So if you remember, we left all the heroes and a whole troop of kingsmen in the ruins of Isengard, having just come across little wee hobbits. And many greetings were made.
That comes up a lot, doesn't it?
It comes up a couple times. Just as they were getting comfortable, Gandalf and the Kingsmen wandered off. Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas stayed behind to rummage. And as they rummaged, they started catching up on how everyone got to be in Isengard. Legolas desperately wanted to know about the Ents, but before they could catch up, Gimli needed food. They all headed to a nearby guardhouse to eat some real men food for real men. Merry made toast. Pippin set the table, and soon they were eating salted ham, bacon, honey on toast, and beer. They were eating like damn kings, Corey.
Not kings men, actual kings.
Actual kings. And as they ate, Gimli made a comment about how the hobbits had grown. As it turns out, Entwater had made them grow a bit. Pretty neat. Legolas started to ask about the Ents again, but was interrupted by Gimli asking about pipeweed. As Legolas sat in agony, the hobbit spent 2 entire pages talking about the pipeweed, and an indeterminate amount of time silently smoking said pipeweed. Just as Legolas had had enough, Pippin and Merry finally told their tale about being kidnapped and tortured, and how they came upon Treebeard and witnessed an Entmoot and hung out with Quickbeam and marched to friggin' war. And we get into the tale. The Ents, from where we left them off before, if you remember, Corey.
Yeah, I do remember the Ents. Thank you.
Because we didn't know. We didn't know what happened. After the moot, the Ents ran all the way to Isengard. They crept up on the walls and watched as the orcs and the wildmen all marched out to war. Once they were gone, Treebeard snuck up and knocked on the door. He was answered with arrows, Corey. But they only made him hasty. He called over his Ent boys and they started tearing the gates down. Saruman had been standing at the gates stupidly, and with them ripped down, the Ents chased him all the way to his tower. He scurried inside and hit some button, and flames started shooting out all over the place, burning the Ents. That made them really hasty, and they went nuts tearing shit apart. But they couldn't even scratch or thank. That's the tower where Saruman lives. The night, I don't know if that had been mentioned yet. As the night wore on, most of the Ents wandered off, giggling to themselves. After some time, Merry and Pippin finally worked up the courage to go check where they went. Turns out they were digging huge trenches and filling them with water. They spent the whole day digging. And just as Merry and Pippin were laying down to rest, friggin' Gandalf showed up out of nowhere, looking for Treebeard.
Friggin' Gandalf? Are you fucking kidding me?
Out of nowhere, friggin' Gandalf. And they thought he was dead.
They did think he was dead until that very moment.
No hello, no good morning. Just where's Treebeard? Treebeard also appeared out of nowhere, and things got really weird between him and Gandalf. They wandered off, talking in hushed tones. After a time, Gandalf came back, smiling his evil smile, and answered none of the hobbits' questions about where he had been, how he was still alive, and where their friends were. Having done nothing, Gandalf rode off with a wink, leaving the hobbits standing awkwardly with Treebeard, who was lost in hasty thoughts. Treebeard gave the hobbits a shrug and wandered off himself, muttering something about war. So, standing in the middle of the rubble of Isengard, faced with uncertainty, The hobbits did what hobbits do and laid down for a nap. They were woken by the sound of water, Corey. The friggin' Ents were were flooding Isengard. Water poured in from the trenches and filled up all of Saruman's little gunny holes. The hobbits clambered up to the guard tower and spent the night feeling like drowned rats, listening to the gurgle of water and the weird ant noises far off. The next morning, Treebeard woke the hobbits up with news of Helm's Deep. As they were chatting away, who should show up? Wormtongue, Corey. And he was none too happy about the state of things. He tried to run away, but Treebeard grabbed him and sent him wading through the flood towards Orthanc with a slap on the bum. With that done, Treebeard gave the hobbits a job of waiting around themselves to find food for 25 men, and he went off to have a bath. In their searching, they found a barrel of pipeweed from the Shire. No foreshadowing there. The end.
Stop that. The end.
So that was that.
Great summary, Mike.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Yes, it has. I love when I love when we just like lay it out so practically, and yet it's a very good description of what's going on.
A 25-page chapter.
Hobbits did what they do best: lay down for a nap.
I'll get into it, but when you think about hobbits, they're pretty weird.
Yes, quite useless creatures, you might say. Mike, do you want to go to the Green Dragon?
I do.
Okay.
But the only food for the brave and true comes from that green dragon.
Welcome to the Green Dragon Inn, the segment where we discuss the beers that we selected for Chapter 10. Mike, what are you drinking today?
Corey. I'm drinking Mystic Haze Pale Ale.
Oh, you fucker.
From Vancouver Island Brewing, in honor of the Mystic Haze that was rising out of Saruman's little gunny holes.
Would you describe it as a haze, a fog, or a mist?
I think it was all three.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry.
Or maybe there was probably a foul reek coming out too.
On that note, how's your beer?
It's very hoppy. It's good. If you don't like IPAs, you would hate this.
Lines are being drawn in the sand currently in the beer world, I would say, Mike.
Just quickly going over the description: intensely juicy, hop forward. It's quite good though. I like it. You might say I'm on one side of that line that someone drew, that imaginary line.
It is quite imaginary, yes, but wait, okay, so Vancouver Island Brewing?
Yeah.
Mike, have you, and I'm sorry if this is a difficult question, because if you asked me the same thing, I probably wouldn't know, but have you had a beer from there on the show before? That doesn't sound familiar to me.
I don't think I have.
Oh, shit.
They've gone through a rebranding in the last few years. They used to be not one of the best microbreweries.
Oh, yeah.
But they've gotten better.
Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah. Corey, what are you sipping on?
Well, Mike, my beer is actually a real treat for you, because I think you might recognize this brewery. The Wellington Brewery from Guelph, Ontario.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I got a Wellington beer, bro. Okay, sorry. It is called Pleasant Island Hazy Pale Ale, because it was hazy and Merry and Pippin were on a pleasant island the whole fucking time the Ents were at war.
Well, look at that. Both of us with a hazy pale ale.
There seems to be a trend developing, perhaps indicative of the greater beer world.
Wow.
Do you remember?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, please.
I haven't had a Wellington beer in a while.
Oh, yeah. Actually, neither have I. Yeah, it's always good. You know what I love? And maybe you don't get this being relatively far away from the Wellington Brewery, but around these parts in, Southern Ontario, anytime I'm looking at a beer menu, if I like can't decide and Wellington is on the menu, I don't always have it, but it like it gives me comfort to be like, if I can't choose anything, I'll just have a Wellington.
Yeah, they're um not always the best, but they're dependably good. How about that?
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, they will certainly do.
Oh,
And
they really Crazy Tiger. That looks good.
I actually don't know if this is one of their like core beers now because I don't pay a ton of attention to it. But I should mention though, Mike, because they're such cool brewing people that we have an IBU on here.
Oh,
Quite low, but it's 35.
oh,
Low enough for Pleasance. Do you remember like I swear when craft brewing started to like really blow up and everything was an IPA?
I do.
And then everything wasn't an IPA for a while, and then they were sours, but like now they're IPAs again.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are talking about IPAs like they've never been done before.
um, it's been probably 10 years, so
Yeah,
it's
okay,
cycle.
fair enough.
It's cyclical. I'm just looking at the Wellington Brewery website, and they have so many new beers. They used to just have Special Pale Ale and Arkel's Best.
Yeah, I think I remember like 2 cans.
Yeah.
And it was like you get the silver one or the other one or something like that. Anyway, yeah.
It was yellow or blue. It was they have one called the Lazy Tiger, and it's 3.6% alcohol.
Oh, that's another kind of trend is like the sort of low alcohol beers these days.
Big fan over here, Corey.
Well, it's nice when a beer doesn't ruin your afternoon.
Yeah, this
So-
one's 4.5 and pushing it for me.
Yeah, oh, that's totally fair. Mine is 4.9, and it's actually I'd like to coin this phrase because I said it just as Tiffany was heading out the door before we recorded. The only thing worse than not having beer is only having one beer. And this is of an alcohol level where I think I need to keep going after, otherwise.
I was thinking the same thing. It's also like 27 degrees here.
Oh wow, yeah, it's about that here.
It's
Yeah,
gross.
beautiful. Mike, are you gonna barbecue this evening?
No, I'm gonna have leftover burritos. I made bean burritos yesterday, and I'll be having them again.
You're gonna mix that with beer and hot weather?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
I can't think of anything. Should we move on?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Okay. Oh God, we haven't even gotten the notes yet.
No.
Mike, do you have any notes on this chapter?
I do, Corey. You'll appreciate this one. The hobbits were worried that the bread was 3 or 4 days old.
Yeah, the apologetic even.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to toast this bread because it's 3 or 4 days old.
The other guys have just been marching all night after the like 48-hour war.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that when like the hobbits are sort of telling their story and really like, oh, we were pretty worried about you guys. So then it just crossed my mind like the fucking bloody murder that they were up to the night before. Yeah, and then these little motherfuckers toasting them bread with honey. God. You know what that also implies though, Mike, is that someone, I'm assuming manservants, were baking bread in Isengard not 3 or 4 days ago.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot of labor and God, I don't know, food preparation was going on within the walls of Isengard.
Were those people removed before everything was destroyed?
Did Ents eat them? I don't know.
Wait,
You know what?
yeah, Saruman certainly had his supply train sorted out before he destroyed the place and filled it with orcs.
Yeah.
Supply chain, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, supply chain, yeah. Yeah, I wonder what's in food being there also orc food being brewed? Like did the humans that lived in the wall were they like separate from the orcs? I don't know. But I guess the orcs are also half human, as I understand it.
Yeah, but they'd eat like a horse or
or other orcs.
yeah, they wouldn't really care. Saruman would, I think.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Do you think he's like one of those guys that like like the way that he rules Isengard? Do you think they send him up like this huge platter for every meal of like several loaves of bread and like meats and cheeses and fresh things, and he just like has a couple nibbles and then is like, take it away?
Like the Steward of Gondor.
Yes, exactly like that.
I think so.
That mother.
Yeah, watching all like the military parades downstairs and just eating cherry tomatoes.
Sing a marching song for me. Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to change the subject slightly, but this brought up a question. How do you think a Huorn like disposes of an orc body? Did they suck it up through their roots?
Oh boy.
I'm not even trying to be weird or gross, but
I think they open up a gaping maw like Old Man Willow.
yeah, yeah, probably.
And then I think they deposit them through their roots into the ground.
Yes, of course, into the ground.
I think that's how
Okay.
it's done.
Yeah.
Old Man Willow really taught us how things work all those chapters ago.
Dang, was Old Man Willow a Huorn?
I think he was, yeah.
Oh, of course. You should not be waking. You should. Oh, huh. I don't know why I never thought of that. Did we talk about this?
I don't think so. Wait, is Tom Bombadil an ant?
We won't find out until the Rings of Power season 2.
Oh God. Okay, more on that later.
Okay, I gotta know.
We should move on. We got stuff. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Mike was Bill Ferny and Uruk-hai.
No, he was a friend of theirs. He was a familiar.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But his friend was for sure an Uruk-hai.
Pretty sure, yeah. It's
yeah.
not outright said, but doesn't someone points out how they look similar, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Pippin and Aragorn, or maybe Merry and Aragorn. One of those fat stupid hobbits and Aragorn. Yeah,
Gimli or Legolas, they couldn't tell the difference.
I bet they couldn't. You know what? That's a very good point. I honestly bet they couldn't, but they were polite about it.
Pretty racist.
Gimli called them truants again, which I love.
I enjoyed all the descriptions of how the ants destroyed Isengard.
Oh man, yeah.
Like it kind of like trees eating into stone in fast motion.
Yes, that was definitely one of my notes as well.
What about Treebeard talking to the hobbits, just leisurely pulling down walls?
I know. That's also a very good image. Just and also doing it sort of like home. It's the way that it describes their hands like roots against stone, like sort of like sped up, is almost like I think this makes it very magical. It's like it's almost hard to picture.
Yeah.
Like the way that their fingers work must be so like I don't know, inhuman, I guess.
It's as good as the movies are, it makes it upsetting that they weren't more. You can almost picture like 80s stop motion kind of.
Oh man, yeah.
It would have been really cool.
Yeah, even like kind of like the jerkiness itself of like stop motion would be like really appropriate.
Yeah. Do you remember? Have you ever seen that skeleton clip that someone cleaned up? The stop motion skeleton that's like, it's so weird.
Oh, the Ray Harryhausen skeleton one?
Maybe.
It's like a fight scene, like a sword fighting scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's from Jason and the Argonauts.
Yes, it is. Yeah, so you've seen that like cleaned up skeleton?
No, I know it exists, but I didn't actually watch it. I will. I should now.
It makes me wish they had. It would have been cool if they did, or if they remake the movie ever when they do. They would never do this, but having the ents only be stop motion, be the only things.
That would be so cool. Yeah.
There's something that's kind of lost there when these things don't quite move right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, like even just like a mix, like I guess Ralph Bakshi sort of like touched on the idea of like sort of a mix of various techniques to show the sort of I don't know, scale of the variety of Middle Earth. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, something stop motion, something else. Like, I don't know. It would be you could do some pretty wild stuff with the new Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
if you had the license to, like the artistic license to.
It'll be remade eventually.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. What else do I have for the Wormtongue's reaction when he arrived was pretty good.
I like that he tried. He tried lying to see if that would work.
But Gandalf knew and had prepped Treebeard.
Yeah. It also kind of makes you wonder if he maybe would have got one past Treebeard, because Treebeard's like, I wouldn't say stupid, but like, how the fuck would he know if a guy was lying?
Yeah. Imagine from his point of view, like,
From Wormtongues?
yeah, like he doesn't know what an ant is. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. Also, they're telling their story and they're like, oh yeah, and then he entered Isengard with us right behind him. So like, not only does he not know what Ents are, there's these fucking little things following him around, not saying anything, just there. That would be creepy as shit.
Oh, he also doesn't know what a hobbit is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like these two weird little children are just with these tree monsters. Like, what the fuck's going on?
Like seemingly bossing them around a little.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? Sorry, what do you mean?
Well, they're like they're not bossing the ants around, but they're like kind of helping them along.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like very, yeah. Yeah. And then like not even knowing the full ruin of Isengard until he actually like enters the circle. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And I guess the last thing he saw was like the greatest army that Middle Earth had ever seen, and then suddenly he comes back and yeah.
What did you do? uh any more notes?
We got a first-hand account from Pippin of Gandalf being an asshole, which is cool. You sort of covered that in your summary, though.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. It's pretty funny. He's so aloof.
Yeah, and I think he calls him a fool of a toque. Yeah.
Not for the last time.
No, Gandalf really is a prick.
Oh, the Hobbit, the flooding scene is so much different than the movie. I always forget because the
Like,
movie scene is so iconic when they let go of the dam.
oh yeah. It's cool. It's very interesting. Like, I guess it's very different. It's interesting in the book that they spend so long preparing for it.
Yeah, which you can't do in a 3-hour movie.
No, you definitely can't. Yeah. Yeah.
If it was a mini series, they would spend half the season digging those tunnels and then flood them.
Oh God. Fuck, that would be cool.
Yeah, imagine they did that in a show about Middle Earth.
Yes, they did do that, Mike. Holy shit, they did exactly that.
Same plan.
You know, every once in a while, something comes up in the book, and I think to myself, oh, this is something that they sort of did in the Rings of Power.
Yeah.
My God. Did AI write the Rings of Power?
I would be shocked to find out that parts were.
I think they just fed whatever text they had the rights to into an AI chatbot, and then were like, please write a show.
And then fed it back in, and they were like, okay, but it's not actually Gandalf this time.
Yes. Only a robot would come up with the Stranger as a name for Gandalf. My final note, Mike. Oh, actually, sorry. I have one that's more just a comment than a note. Saruman's power shriek lowered the attack of the Ents. Did you notice that?
Yeah, the voice of Saruman, hey?
Yes, it was. That fucker. And then my last note is I think it's really cool. And I like that in terms of the writing and the pacing of the actual story. I apologize, this is not leading to a joke. This chapter is the reuniting of two parties that have been separate for the whole book, and even with that, it's not repetitive. like I think it's cool that Tolkien managed to move the narrative forward rather than retell things that the reader already knows, but he fills
Oh,
in the gaps
right.
of what we've been really wanting to know.
Yeah. Yeah, like often either you wouldn't often you would have already known, and they would just be like they filled them in. The author would just, write that off as like they exchange stories. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
but there's really some anticipation there because you want to know too what the fuck happened.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think he pulls that off really, really well. And I
Yeah,
mean, sometimes,
I didn't even consider that because it's like my fifth time reading this that like you wouldn't know.
well, yeah, and all in all, this like could have been a very boring chapter, uh, but it's not because you're like, oh, cool, like yeah, it catches you up in a very interesting way instead of just like, oh, and then they met up again, and then they had to trade stories, and yeah,
Yeah. So what happened? My last note, Corey, is about how we're continually reminded of how fucked hobbits are.
it, if you can provide examples, I would be appreciative.
How they don't seem to have their what's the word? Their priorities straight in any situation.
And yeah, in any situation, you're right.
But I think it's part of why they're best suited to carry the ring.
Yeah, yeah, actually, they're weirdly robust for how like poorly adapted they are.
Yeah, like they've just been through like the worst time ever, and they're worried about the kind of food they're going to find, and like all pumped up that they found a bunch of tobacco.
They are smoking themselves stupid, like 48 hours after they were being tortured by actual monsters.
And not bothered by it at all. Like
No, yeah. And I suppose maybe even to Gandalf's credit, that's sort of why he kind of like ignores them a lot of the time. They're like, Gandalf, you're alive. He's like, for fuck's sakes, try and keep up.
he's such a prick to them though. It's so good.
He spent too much time with them. He's had enough.
What's in this? Nothing. Just a bit of seasoning. I thought maybe if we was having a roast chicken one night or something.
Cooking with Sam, where we cook a chapter appropriate, book appropriate, vaguely appropriate meal
Appropriate.
and talk about it. Corey, what did we cook this time? Was it Gimli shepherd's pie?
You know that I wish it was. But it was Shire shepherd's pie, food
Right.
inspired by the Lord of the Rings.
Right, of course.
Yeah. I pulled a funny quote from the website, by the way. I don't know if you saw this, Mike. Quote, this recipe was created as a sponsored post for the Lord of the Rings, Rise to War mobile game, end quote.
Good for them.
Yeah, fair enough.
I can't remember what I was going to say. Do you remember the website or the blog?
It was underatinroof.com, Shire shepherd's pie.
Right.
I can put it in the chat for you if you want real quick. How do I do that? Actually, you can probably find it before I figure out how to do that. The fuck is the chat?
I have it now.
Okay, sweet.
We should throw them a tag when we post this because they only have 1 million followers on Instagram. They could probably use, a little boost.
A little boost from the big boys. Yeah. We're real heavy hitters in the Tolkien food game. I mean, we should be. Well, Mike, do you have some notes on this recipe?
Do I have? I've got some notes. Yeah, I got a few. How often do you make shepherd's pie, Corey?
Actually, fairly often.
Me too.
Do you really?
Probably once a month.
Yeah. Okay. I'd say that's probably similar to how often I make it.
Wow, that's often. Weird.
What kind of fucking freak? Okay, Mike. Well, then, how did it compare to your regular shepherd's pie?
That's tricky because it was really good, Corey.
Yes, I also liked it. Definitely.
I usually follow the Gordon Ramsay recipe.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
Yeah, and it's not Gordon Ramsay's shepherd's pie, but not many are. It's also not a shepherd's pie. Just let's get that out of the way.
Well, he goes on a lot about like cottage pie versus shepherd's pie, doesn't he?
Yeah, this is a cottage pie.
Ah, okay, yeah. I actually wonder. No, this is not even a joke. I actually wondered that because I like Gordon Ramsay, so I watch him a lot, and he's always, he won't shop about that.
Yep, you're right. And a shepherd's pie has to have lamb, right?
Oh, is that the difference? I couldn't
I
remember.
believe so. Yeah,
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
because shepherds dip it into his herd.
Jesus Christ.
Um, their herd, I should say. Yeah, but it's a shepherd's pie. That's Gordon's not here with us. We can talk about it. But it was pretty good. I usually do chicken stock, not beef stock.
Okay.
And I usually shred my carrots like Gordon does.
Oh, I like a chunky carrot in a shepherd's pie. A lot of times I do like them shredded though.
I like it shredded and I cook it with the beef, and I can have a little bit of beef and then a ton of carrot. And it kind of bolsters it up that way. Anyway, getting away from uh one of my other notes, Corey, is how much garlic do you add when you're following a recipe like this?
I double it.
Yeah, at least.
If it's like 2 cloves, I'm like 4 cloves. If it's like 6 cloves, I might put 7 in. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
but I almost never do.
at least double it. And like if it's a small clove, it doesn't even count.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, small cloves are just for the pot. Yeah.
Okay, just so we're on the same page there.
Yeah. Well, Mike, on
Um,
that note, I do not and will not peel my potatoes. Not for underatinroof.com, not for company, not for fucking Thor and Oakenshield, not even for Samwise. I do not peel my potatoes. And I honestly, I can't picture a hobbit peeling a fucking potato.
They don't have time for that. Are you kidding me?
They're hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good though. Actually, I have one little piece left in the fridge.
Oh, do you really? Oh my,
Yeah.
that's exciting.
I froze half of it because it made so much more than in the photo.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so I ate it my entire week while I was recovering from surgery.
Oh yeah, that's
And
cool.
Yeah,
that's
it was perfect.
Yeah, that's comfort food for sure.
And then had some frozen for now.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I thought it the other day.
Oh, great, Mike.
Well,
Ours
my
is gone. It.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh, okay. So Corey is a vegan. What did you use? What did you substitute for meat?
Well, I should say vegetarian, because I put the egg on top,
Okay.
as the recipe asks. But I substituted, my beef was tofu and my pork was lentils.
Did you like shred the tofu?
If you get firm tofu, you can crumble it, and it is like quite similar to, I would say, ground beef,
Okay.
in texture.
Have you ever frozen it first?
No,
Some people swear by that.
really? Do you
Yeah.
know what that does?
It changes the texture,
Huh.
so it's more meaty almost.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Huh. I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, I've never tried it myself, but I was reading about it.
That's cool.
We should eat more tofu. Gord loves tofu.
Is he really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's funny. He calls it chicken. He doesn't like chicken, but he likes tofu and he calls it chicken.
There's actually a very good, I didn't use it for this. I just used like just plain tofu, but there is a smoked tofu that you can get that actually has a very similar kind of texture to like maybe like a older cheese, not like an old hard cheese, but like a firmer cheese.
Yeah.
And it is quite good. And also if you shred that into something, it's a sort of meat replacement like taste and texture.
Oh, cool.
It's good. You should try that if you're interested in it.
Yeah. I used to get, the vegetable ground beef.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it makes me so gassy.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. It kind of has to be like, I don't know, either beans or like broccoli or something like that. Something that'll gas you right up.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Back to the recipe though.
Well, in terms of like this versus the regular shepherd's pie that I make, I think the real kicker was the amount of tomato paste.
Oh
Because
yeah.
this I think it made it really saucy and really nice because this used like at least double the amount of tomato paste that I ever would have thought to. It
Oh.
was like rosy cotton saucy, Mike.
You mean thick and saucy?
uh, anyway, the only thing that I changed is I did have to change the potatoes a little bit. I didn't love the consistency following the recipe, so I made them creamier.
Oh.
Because I like a real good creamy potato
Oh yeah, you
personally.
got to be able to spread that to potato.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah,
on
I thought
now.
they were a little dry just following the recipe, but other than that, I thought it was great.
I didn't follow the recipe for the potatoes.
Oh, yeah, okay. That
I'm
makes sense.
so particular. I didn't even bother. Like I put in an egg when I'm mashing.
Oh, do you?
That's what Gordon Ramsay does.
That
Um,
mother.
my last thing to say was, where do you reckon that hobbits got their Worcester sauce? Yeah, Worcester sauce.
That's funny actually because I had to drive half an hour to find vegan Worcester sauce.
Really?
Because it normally has anchovy in it.
Yeah.
So hobbits eat fish, I think.
They do. Would they? So you think they make their own?
There's probably a guy, you know what I mean? Like there's probably like one guy in the Shire makes
Everyone's got a guy. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, like there's the salted pork guy, there's the Worcestershire guy, there's the I don't know, cheese guy.
The bread guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the seeded
yeah.
cake guy.
Yes, which may or may not be a Baggins.
All right.
Yeah.
I've learned something today. I didn't know you were such a shepherd's pie fan.
Yes, I didn't know that you were either. Yeah, I normally just make it lentil, so I don't normally mix two things like this asked me to do, and I don't normally, add that much tomato sauce. And then once, kind of recently, I had we knew it was clearing out their fridge, so I had Worcester sauce, and I used it in about two shepherd's pies, and I was like, "Fuck, this is like upped my shepherd pie game," and I was afraid to lean on it as a crutch. But it does make a huge difference. It is delicious.
I am going to look up a lentil shepherd's pie because we have a giant bag of lentils in the pantry, and I need to get into them.
I'll tell you one thing: it won't be a Gordon Ramsay recipe.
No,
Whatever you find, he does. Yes. Yeah, I'd highly rate it, and I would recommend it. Mike.
Yeah, I would say.
Cool. Great.
Yeah, I won't be deviating from Gordon Ramsay, but that's no knock on a tin roof.
The Matham House, it was called.
The Matham House, it was called. The segment where we talk about something that no one else wants to talk about.
And boy, are you right there, Mike. Okay, well, welcome to the Matham House, Mike. I have a quote from you here. Old Toby, why Saruman had it and its significance. End quote. This is tough because this gets into some potential huge spoiler territory.
Oh.
So I hope you will not be disappointed with my Matham here. But well, to start out, I revisited the foreword of Lord of the Rings. That is the concerning this, concerning that section. And it was Merry Doc Brandybuck, who you may be familiar with, Mike. He was eventually to become the foremost expert on pipeweed. And sadly, in the concerns, as well as in this chapter, we do have confirmation that pipeweed, aka leaf, aka Old Toby, aka Longbottom leaf, aka Southern Star, aka Sweet Galenas, is in fact tobacco, not the marijuana.
Why do you say unfortunately?
I think a lot of people hold dear, as I once did in my life, the idea that it was marijuana.
Okay.
I think when I was going to say the first time, probably the second time I read Lord of the Rings, fell approximately at a chapter of my life where I was very disappointed it wasn't marijuana.
It's
Anyhow.
funny because it almost feels like they wanted it to be, you know?
Yeah. It sort of makes you wonder, like, would that have even been on Tolkien's radar in any capacity in the years that he wrote this? But who knows? Yeah, anyhow. But as we also know, Mike, the smoking of this plant is among the fine arts of the Shire.
Uh-huh.
But I do hesitate to get too much into how and why Saruman had it, because that, like I said, that can get very spoilery. Note here that Aragorn decided he should mention the fact that 2-year-old pipeweed was in Isengard to Gandalf. That seemed very important to him. And to Aragorn's vast knowledge of nowhere places in Middle Earth, there was no direct trade route or even people to do the actual trading between Isengard and the Shire. It was strange enough that Aragorn thought it was strange. Also note that Gandalf would have told Saruman of the Shire, the Ring, and the Bagginses, and it was approximately the year 2953 when Saruman began to be aware of the land of the Shire. This was 3 years before Aragorn and Gandalf met, and 12 years after the Battle of Five Armies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because yeah, like in the chapter, Mary said that the vintage of Old Toby that they were smoking was 2 years prior, so that's a pretty recent trade with the Shire. A little bit, yeah. Anyway, pretty recent. So what can I still tell you, and also what did Saruman know at this point are the important things here. So what Saruman knew was at the time in 2953, he knew about as much as Gollum did when Gollum was captured by Mordor. That is, he knew the name Shire and he knew the name. Right. So don't forget Shire and Baggins. And as for what more stop laughing. As for what more I can tell you, without wholly spoiling some later events, and I've clearly already said too much, is that it was the year of 3018 in the Third Age that Saruman's agents entered and began their work in the Shire and the outlying areas. Specifically, Bree, remember Bill Fernie? Excuse me, pardon me. Though now that I'm thinking about this, I put this research together the other day, and now that I'm reading it, we're, I believe, currently in the year 3019 in the story. And what I was reading said that it was 3018 that Saruman sent spies to the Shire, but that must be wrong because he had the year previous as Old Toby.
Was
Very
Phil was Bill Fernie doing runs for him?
Well, I think we have to assume that because Bill Fernie was hanging out with an Uruk-hai. So he must have been in league with, I suppose, the Black Tower through Saruman. Yeah, because Bill Fernie and his buddy were hanging out with the Black Riders, and so Saruman must have sort of arranged that meeting. Anyhow, yeah. Mike, I feel like that's about all I can tell you. I can re-emphasize the name of Baggins, but that is again getting into spoiler territory.
How foreshadowing, Corey.
Yes, it is extremely foreshadowing. It's pretty hilarious, and you could say blatant foreshadowing that Aragorn's like, I might just mention this to Gandalf. It turns and winks at the camera. But I do have a bonus for you, Mike. Since I couldn't go very far in this, I did come across a fun little piece of information. In the town of Chehalis, Washington State, there is a cannabis dispensary called Old Toby. Approximately 4.4 stars rating on Google, by the way. And I did save some of their more entertaining Google reviews because I didn't have much else to talk about.
All right.
5 stars. You are all amazing. You always help me out with the smiles and kindness. Happy 420. Thanks again. Bridget, also please tip them. I always try to, and they always tell me thank you. This is my favorite store to go. A bright light because I'm always treated like I'm special, even though I'm not. But thank you to Old Toby for all you do. 1 star. Don't bother tipping. They won't say thank you. I guess tips are expected, not appreciated here. I'll gladly keep that extra couple dollars. Me being a local business owner, I always say thank you when I'm tipped. Response from the owner. Dustin, I'm sorry that you felt that way yesterday. Were you particularly difficult to work with? Summarizing here, skipping to the end. I have no doubt that the crew member that waited on you appreciated the tip, regardless if you heard an audible thank you. But if you were an overly demanding, unkind, unnecessarily indecisive customer, occasionally we get those. It is possible the thank you was whispered. 2 stars. What? What's that?
Was whispered.
Yeah.
Great.
That's kind of fun to imagine. Just like playing in a tip jar. Beware though, 2 stars. The staff was really nice, but they sold me 2-year-old flour. Nasty. Maybe it was just an oversight. Make sure to check the date on your package before leaving. 5 stars. No muss, no fuss. Mostly cool people. Ran into a Karen working there once, but they're clean and local and decent stuff for decent prices. I gave up the other place when I went to Old Toby. 4 stars. Prices are a bit high, little overpriced, but the quality is always good. The employees are always friendly and helpful. Never disappointed with stuff they recommend. Good people, good atmosphere, good variety, and good ganja. 1 star. I would give -10 if I could. I got some shatter. Well, can even say it's shatter. It looks like it's old, so it's not even shatter. It's very poor. Like it's been melted over and over, kept too warm to where it won't go shatter anymore. It's just completely melted. It's more of a crumble, not worth what I paid. All the oil soaked into the wax paper. Store can't even take care of their product and have it properly stored. I will never do business there again. Paid $2 to get too poor quality. 5 stars. Well, I'd have to say that I ... I don't remember, but the employees were cool.
That one's good. I want to ask questions, but I don't think we could answer them.
Go for it. I might be able to answer them. I read a lot of these.
No, I mean about like I want to. I don't know what shatter is, but
I don't really know what shatter is either.
Okay. I'm afraid of answering it, and then like this shouldn't be a podcast where people come to learn about new kinds of drugs.
Have to learn about shatter. I have heard of shatter. I think it must be some sort of like I would assume distillation of the drug-like qualities of marijuana. Anyway, but
yeah, that's my guess too. I just don't know. And
yeah. But anyway, if you find yourself in Washington State,
oh boy.
So that's the Madam Mouse.
Good one, Corey.
I'm sorry if I didn't go as deep as you wanted me to, Mike.
Deep enough.
Okay.
What news from the bar?
Hobbit News, where we discuss news about Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, Middle-earth, anything Tolkien related.
Yeah,
anything,
yes, it is.
Anything tangentially related. How about that?
That is correct.
Corey, did you see that Nintendo Direct a couple weeks ago?
I did see that Nintendo Direct.
Did you see that game that Weta is working on?
I certainly did, Mike. And I am frothing at the mouth to hear what you had to say about it.
Well, I don't know, because they didn't really tell us. There's a upcoming cozy game called Tales of the Shire, where you are a hobbit in the Shire and you do hobbity things.
Uh-huh.
Would you say that about summarizes it?
Yeah, I would.
It looks cool. I have no idea what you do.
I
You decorate your home. You do some fishing and gardening.
I think it's very in the line of like Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing.
I think
from what
so.
I understand. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a goal or if you're just living there.
It seems like you're just living there. Excuse me, from what I have gleaned from it.
It looks a little bit rough around the edges. I don't know if you noticed that.
It looks a little like a knockoff game, but it's an official game.
Yeah. And I don't know what to think of it at all.
It looks it gives me vibes of that Gollum game that was universally hated from like not even that long ago, not even a year, I don't think.
Yeah, but why is Weta involved in this?
I don't know. That's the weirdest thing. Like with the Weta Workshop, I would assume it would just have such rich detail and like
being incredible quality.
Yeah, it's weird.
See if they really leaned into. Did you? The Hobbit also the main character just skips around too. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
If they lean into how ridiculous Hobbiton is, it could be really funny.
That's true. That's a very good point.
But I don't know if they will.
Yeah, I don't know if they will either. It seems like and I recognize that I am not necessarily the target audience for this game, but like I used to really love like Harvest Moon, but I kind of need a goal in a game in a way. Like I don't know. I need to battle monsters. I guess. It seems like it's just you're just a hobbit.
Maybe the wolves attack Corey.
I think there was wolves in the one clip.
I didn't catch that. I kind of zoned out.
Well, that same trailer was released like before the Nintendo Direct.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I sent it to you actually. But we're getting into some hazy time when we were both quite busy.
Yes, I might have been fighting a newborn.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. All I really had to say about it is it looks like a knockoff, but it's an official Lord of the Rings branded game by the Weta Workshop, which is wild. Yeah.
Let's see what becomes of it.
Yep. Maybe
One
we
of
should get a
us-
physical copy and just trade it with each other. I mean,
We could. We could live stream it too.
yeah. Oh man, it would probably be the most foul-mouthed gaming live stream ever, at least in the cozy genre.
Definitely. Especially with like how slow it looks. I don't know about you, but I don't really have patience for games that are that slow anymore.
No, me neither. That's why, like, yeah, there needs to be a monster that I could fight and a sword that I can forge or something. Like, yeah, but whatever.
Yeah. So, hey, if I don't want to nag anyone else's, if someone's into cozy games, that's great for them.
That is great for them. And if they would like to send us their review of Tales of the Shire, we would very much appreciate it.
I'll read it. Yeah. Yeah.
Hobbitshit@gmail.com.
I just probably won't be playing it unless Corey gives me a copy. Anyway, do you have any news, Corey?
Yes, Mike, we're like, this is maybe a little behind the times, but a new trailer dropped for the Rings of Power season 2,
Right.
which we do have to discuss because it is our duty.
Right.
Yeah. So there was a trailer, and there was yet again a very extensive Vanity Fair article, as there was with the first season.
Did you read it?
I started reading it, but I was like, God, this is like this is an ad, I guess, is how I felt. Like this is an like Google must have purchased this article from Vanity Fair. But it's from the article that the Tom Bombadil photo came from.
Yeah. And what does he not have?
Was it Boots of Yellow or was
Yeah.
yeah, I don't even remember. It's just supposed to be Tom Bombadil, and I just Mike, I'm gonna try to go in with an open mind, much like we did bravely in season 1, but it seems like a train wreck that hasn't even left the station.
I can't wait for them to explain like why Galadriel forget like what happens to Sauron, or not Sauron, sorry, Sauron, right?
Yeah.
Like what's gonna happen to him?
There was when the trailer first dropped, I think I had seen it that afternoon when it was only a couple hours old, and the like the how you can dislike a video.
Yeah.
The dislikes were heavily outweighing the likes on it, and people in the comments, it was hilarious. They kept being like, hey, 1 hour after posting, just so you know, likes are at like 4K or whatever.
Oh my God.
It was quite entertaining. And I think a lot of people were very angry about seeing just Sauron in a wig. It's just, yeah.
Is it the same actor?
Yeah, it was the same actor, yeah.
He just put a wig on
And had elf ears.
Oh my God. So I can't remember from the previous season. Did they forge the rings? They were just talking about it, right? Or did
they forged the elven rings.
Okay.
But
Not the
I
dwarven?
No, I don't think so.
Interesting.
Or the man flesh rings.
Right. So Sauron will have to get more mithril.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Oh no, was it mithril he used?
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't it?
Something
yeah.
like that.
It was so needlessly complicated, that fucking show, man.
Yeah. Oh no, the Silmaril was in a sword or something when an elf was fighting a
Balrog.
a Balrog, and then they got struck
Yeah.
by lightning, and then the lightning went in the mountain and created Mithril. Wasn't that what happened?
I think a tree might have been involved too, but I'm not sure.
They were in a tree fighting and got struck by lightning in a rainstorm.
Coincidentally, the perfect conditions for creating a new alloy.
And it went throughout the mountain.
Yep. But no one knew about it.
The only place in all of Middle Earth where that metal appears.
Yeah. And also
even though I'll stop.
Yeah, we'll try to go in with an open mind. But anyway, if you haven't seen the trailer, it's likely you have, I suppose. But please go out and watch it, because you will be mildly entertained. Mike, I made a note that I think there was a third piece of news, but I honestly can't remember what it was.
Oh, was it that we're back?
That might be the best piece of news, but I don't know if that's what I was thinking of.
Was it? I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah, I don't know either, because it was definitely the game, definitely the show. But if you can't think of it and I can't think of it, then it doesn't matter. We'll just have to cover it next time.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I will draw you, Saruman, as poison is drawn from a wound.
I shall draw you Saruman, the segment where we discuss an illustration one of us made for this chapter. Does that about cover it? Oh, okay. Flotsam and Jetsam. Corey, I love this.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, it was my turn. And I was really hoping you'd laugh at it. That was the reaction I was hoping for.
Yeah. How long does this take you?
Not that long. It's pretty simple one. I've been thinking about it for such a long time because this one is based on it's based on a greeting card I saw one time. I think I sent it to you like probably a year ago.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and as soon as I saw it, I thought of Merry and Pippin. There was like no hesitation in my mind. I was like, that's those two fuckers.
It's perfect. It's perfect in every way.
I had a lot of fun doing this one.
Can I say that is it cropped?
It is slightly cropped, yeah.
Man, it's almost worth it's a slight criticism, but like finishing off the edges of everything and
like making it bigger.
Well, just like the 2 feet and the piece of bread and the rasher of ham or bacon.
Yeah.
And then putting this on a shirt or something. Because it would look so cool.
That would be cool.
It's not even a criticism. It's just like that would look really cool on a shirt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, it kind of made me think a little bit of my Tom Bombadil illustration, which is sort of similar, though it wasn't necessarily based on anything. I was thinking about that one recently, and I thought maybe we do that Tom Bombadil one, because I feel like this one was a little bit more like successful. Probably because I had the practice of doing something similar to it. Because this is certainly not how I would normally draw.
I like that Tom Bombadil one a lot, and you have room there. You could finish off their feet. If like if the feet were done, and then like the even their mountain of I don't know what you call it.
They're spoils.
They're spoils. Like
they're unearned war spoils.
Yeah, the bread and bacon going off the edge of it would look cool if it was like a finished shape, and then that would look really cool on a shirt.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I was really enjoying using like neon colors for this one.
Yeah, is that on the illustration board, Corey?
It's actually on mineral paper.
Oh.
Which I really, really like. It's flexible, so it's flexible like paper, but it is absolutely non-absorbent. So paint just like sits on top of it.
So if you were using like a gouache, for instance, it would be perfect.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it does some really interesting things if you use something even more liquidy than gouache, like watercolor, because the watercolor has to dry instead of being absorbed into the paper.
Yeah.
You can get some pretty
Oh.
wild effects on it.
Yeah, like it would pool and create like the pooling kind of outline, right? Where the pigment didn't absorb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it sort of settles in like in weird ways and gives it like really interesting wash qualities. And like an acrylic sits on it like really nicely as well because it doesn't absorb. So it just like you can just build it up on it.
Yeah.
It's really fun to work with. Yeah.
Huh. That's really cool looking.
Yeah, I made a list in the chapter of for authenticity's sake that they had bread and toast, wine, beer, salted pork, bacon, and honey. And I tried to include them all. I think I left out the beer in favor of the barrel of Old Toby, but that's fine.
Yeah, it could be either, right?
Yeah,
Open
yeah,
to
it really could.
interpretation.
It's just
Yeah, they're such fuckers.
while I was drawing this, I just kept hearing, and I loved this. I kept hearing Gollum's voice saying, "Stupid fat hobbits," and that's exactly what I was going for.
Yeah, I really like this one.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'd fun with it. Yeah, it's good. This is one of those fun ones where I just went very outside of what I would normally have done, and had a good time doing it.
That is the best part of this. I don't know what you call it.
Segment.
Assignment. I don't know this project we've undertaken.
Yeah.
I was looking back through mine and like I got a couple of stinkers, but it's just because we're so far out of our comfort zone.
Yeah, it's definitely like yeah, I sort of feel the same way. Sometimes I look back at one and I'm like, oh, I think that one was cool. And then I'll look at it and be like, oh, it could have been better. Kind of like the Tom Bombadil one. That was one of the ones I was sort of looking forward to the most and like was one of my sort of favorites at the time. But I look back and like technically I'm like, I could have done a better job.
Right.
And then some other ones that I didn't expect turned out really good.
Looking back at Tom Bombadil now, I guess like I see what you mean in that the colors in this one are just a lot more vibrant.
Yeah, the Bombadil would be funny if it was neon too.
Yeah.
And I think just like the lines and like maybe a little bit of like the design of the lettering, but yeah, like it's there's been some very, very fun and very interesting surprises. Doing this assignment, as you say.
Yeah. Yeah, looking back at them, my one with Gimli, I am so disappointed in still. I would love to redo that one.
Oh, the one with the hairs of Galadriel?
Yeah, it just didn't like I realized I can't draw like that. And I was so stubbornly pushing.
I always think of your the one that you did Shortcut to Mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
I think that one is pretty much perfect. Yeah, exactly. It's so
funny. Really funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one pushed me way outside my comfort zone with the like weirdo hills in the background and like the disproportionate houses and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I think you really nailed that storybook style. Here's something for you though, Mike. Speaking of being pushed out of our comfort zones, we're about to and no spoilers, but we're about to embark on a very dark half, or I guess not half, what is it? A sixth. The next book, anyway, with Frodo and Sam is dark as hell.
Yeah, it is.
and pretty fucking grim. So what the heck are we gonna do with illustrations for that part?
We'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we will. Yeah. Thank you for listening to episode 10 of season, what is this, 3?
Season 3, Corey.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for listening to episode 10 of season 3 of That Hobbit Shit. You can find us on Instagram at That Hobbit Shit. You can find us on Twitter at Hobbit Shit. You can email us at thathobbitshit@gmail.com. Please do if you've played Tales of the Shire. And you can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/thathobbitshit to support the show and get your hands on some Hobbit shit merchandise. Thanks again. I'm Corey.
And I'm Mike.
And may the hair on your toes
never fall out.
Where were you on that?